I had a client call me last spring who was convinced her plants were dying from some type of disease. She had already spent $200 on treatments. When I arrived, within 30 seconds of being there, I realized her plants weren't dying from disease, they were dying because of her mulch. And what she was doing is something that millions of homeowners are doing right now. So today, I'm walking you through every major mulching myth that I see in the field. Myths that are costing you money and potentially costing you your plants as well. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Dr. Tom Warren, and you're watching The Plant Doctor. Let's get into it. Myth number one, and this one has generated more discussions online than I've seen in a very long time, and that is you have to remove your old mulch before you put in new mulch. I want to address this directly. The answer is always no, and here's why. Old mulch is not a waste product. It is actively breaking down into organic matter, and that is exactly what your soil needs. Every time you pull out that old mulch and haul it away, you're removing decomposing organic material that was feeding microbial life in your soil. You're throwing away free fertilizer. I've had clients spend an entire Saturday raking up and removing mulch just to put down more mulch every single spring. That is a lot of wasted labor, and you have better things to do on your Saturday. The one exception is this: if you have mulch that has built up 6, 7, or more inches over the course of years, at that point, you would want to remove some of the mulch. Ideally, you never exceed 3 to 4 inches of mulch in your beds. But removing it all every single year, that is a myth, and a costly one at that. Myth number two is that putting down weed fabric underneath your mulch will stop weeds forever. This one drives me absolutely crazy, and I'm going to quote my middle school daughter and her friends here. This is straight dog water, bruh. Weed fabric is actually good for 1, maybe 2 years, but over time, here's what happens. The accumulation of decomposing mulch, decomposing leaf material, stems, sticks that have fallen off of your vegetative plants end up on top of your weed fabric. And not only that, but given enough years, it will also decompose, and you've just spent thousands of dollars on something that is a temporary fix. I've had clients spend good money having weed fabric professionally installed in their yard, only to call me 2 to 3 years later and ask what's happening to their beautiful flowers and plants in the yard. But here's what concerns me more than aesthetics. Landscape fabric can potentially be harmful to your soil. Depending on the material that it's made out of, it can potentially reduce airflow and moisture entering the soil. This is not also harmful for plant roots. It can also potentially be harmful for beneficial insects and organisms like earthworms as well. And it also prevents the beneficial breakdown of decomposing matter getting down into the soil layer. Here is what I'll recommend instead. 3 or 4 inches of some sort of wood mulch, bark mulch, or like you see here in front of me, pine straw. These products suppress weeds much better in the long term without any of the downsides, and the science backs it up. Myth 3 is that more mulching provides more protection, or volcano mulching like you see here. This one doesn't just waste your money, it kills trees as well, and you really need to hear me on this one. It's what we in the landscape industry call volcano mulching. That is when mulch is piled up in a mound around the base of a tree, sometimes 6, 8, even 12 inches deep, right against the trunk. It looks frankly like the garden center told them to do it that way, and I understand the instinct completely. More coverage feels like more protection. But here's the reality. That pile of wet mulch pressed against the bark of the tree creates a constantly moist environment. That moisture against the bark is perfect breeding grounds for fungal pathogens, crown rot, and insect activity. The bark of the tree is not designed to be buried. It is designed to be above the ground, exposed to air circulation. I have seen this practice alone kill mature trees that have been growing for decades, and it happens slowly, so homeowners don't connect the mulch to the decline until it's far too late. Let me be precise here because this one matters. Keep mulch 3 to 6 inches away from the base of the trunk. Also, you don't want your mulch piled higher than 4 inches around the tree as well. For mulching trees, this has been the professional standard for the 25 years that I've been in the green industry. Myth number 4 is that rubber mulch is better than natural mulch because it lasts longer. It's marketed as a low-maintenance, long-lasting alternative to organic mulches. And on the surface, That sounds reasonable. It does last longer, but here's why it lasts longer. It never breaks down. And for your plants, that can be a problem. Your landscape beds aren't just supposed to look good. They're supposed to improve your soil over time. Organic mulch breaks down into humus that feeds your plants, improves the soil structure, and supports the beneficial microbial life that every healthy landscape depends upon. Rubber mulch does none of that. It just sits there. Not only that, rubber mulch can reach excessive amounts of heat. On a sunny day, rubber mulch can easily get above 150 degrees Fahrenheit. That is not the mulch protecting your plants, that is the mulch cooking your plants. And beyond the heat, rubber mulch contains compounds from tire manufacturing processes. As you can see here, this bag of rubber mulch is literally nothing but ground up tires. That is not something I want in the soil around my ornamentals or anyone else's edibles. Here are the mulches I recommend: shredded hardwood mulch, pine bark mulch, and pine straw. It all depends on your region and what is readily available in your area. For me here in the southeastern United States, pine straw is readily available, and that's what I use in a majority of my beds. These three products actually improve the soil structure of your landscape over time. Myth number 5 is you need a full mulch refresh every single spring. Now this is connected to what I said in myth 1, but it's slightly different. The myth that you need to completely mulch and refresh every spring as routine seasonal maintenance, and I want to challenge that directly. If you put down a quality hardwood mulch 3 to 4 inches deep last spring, chances are all you need to do this spring is top dress with an additional 1 inch. That's it, just freshen things up. Here's why this myth persists. It's visual. Old mulches fade. It goes from that rich dark color to a grayish tone over the season, and homeowners assume that means it's gone bad and needs to be replaced. What's actually happening is that the mulch is doing its job. It's actively breaking down, feeding the soil. A light top dress refreshes the appearance and adds material at the same time. There's one exception to this rule. If your mulch has become compacted into a hard mat, you may have a plant health issue. You can test this easily. Pour a cup of water directly onto the mulch surface. If it beads up and runs off rather than absorbing, your mulch has become hydrophobic. If this scenario plays out in your landscape, simply rake the old mulch over and add fresh mulch on top of it. I've seen this play out on dozens of properties across the country, and the fix is simple. Myth number 6 is all mulch is basically the same. Just pick a color you like and run with it. I've heard that said more times than I can count, and nothing can be further from the truth. Mulch types matter, and it matters specifically because of your plant selection, your soil type, and the regional climate. Here's a quick example. As I mentioned earlier, pine straw is an excellent mulch for me because it's readily available in my area. In other scenarios, shredded hardwood mulch might be a better option. It breaks down readily, it improves soil structure broadly, and provides the best weed suppression among all the organic options. Now, colored dyed mulches, red mulch, black mulch, brown mulch. Those you find at the big box stores. Here's where things get really interesting. The dye itself typically is not a concern. Most manufacturers use carbon-based colorants that are considered safe. The concern is what they're dyeing. A significant percentage of the colored mulch is made from the same recycled wood products, including wood pallets that may have been treated with chemicals. If you're going with a dyed product, research the source. A reputable supplier will tell you exactly what's in it. In my 25 years in the green industry, I've seen this play out time and time again in the landscape. Mulch is not a decoration decision, it is a plant health decision as well. Myth number 7 is that mulch eliminates all weeds permanently. And I understand why people believe this, because in year 1, a fresh 3 or 4 inch application of quality mulch does suppress a remarkable amount of weed germination. But here's the full picture. Mulch suppresses weeds that are trying to germinate from the soil below. What it cannot do, and this is critical, is prevent weed seeds from landing on top of the mulch from above and germinating right there on the mulch layer itself. Every time the wind blows, every time a bird flies over your head, weed seeds are landing on your mulch surface. At that point, all they need is light and moisture. Here's a pro tip for you. Keeping 3 to 4 inches of mulch in your landscape beds will greatly reduce the amount of weeds you see throughout the growing season. If you go below 3 inches, you're letting too much light reach the soil surface. Weed germination increases significantly. Above 4 inches and you're creating other problems we've talked about today. Poor air circulation, moisture retention against plant crowns, and that slow buildup that becomes an issue over time. 3 to 4 inches, that's the professional standard, and there's a reason it's been the standard for decades. Our next myth, and it actually comes with a kernel of truth, and that's why it sticks around in gardening communities. It's that fresh wood mulch depletes nitrogen in the soil. Let's talk about it. The myth is that fresh wood mulch depletes the nitrogen in your soil, starving your plants in the process. And to understand where this comes from, there is a real biological process called nitrogen immobilization, where soil microbes consume nitrogen as they break down carbon-rich materials like wood chips. That part is real. But here's where the myth goes wrong, that nitrogen immobilization happens at the mulch and soil interface, right where the two connect on the surface. If you're tilling fresh wood chips directly into the soil, yes, you're creating a temporary nitrogen deficiency. Do not do that. But here's what I really want you to understand. When mulch is applied correctly on top of the soil as a surface layer, not tilled in, the nitrogen drawdown is minimal and localized. Your plant roots are not sitting at the surface. They are down in the soil, largely unaffected by what's happening at the mulch soil boundary. I've had clients reach out to me that haven't used wood mulch in years because their neighbors told them that it would strip their plants of nitrogen. Meanwhile, their landscape beds looked terrible and their plants were in decline. When applied correctly, wood-based mulch is not an enemy and it's not stripping your plants of nitrogen. Myth number 9, and this one keeps a lot of homeowners from mulching at all. And it's a real shame because it's based on a fundamental misunderstanding that using mulch right up against your house will eventually attract termites to come into your house. Let's talk about it. The myth is that mulch attracts termites and will eventually lead to a termite infestation in your home. I've heard this from clients, from neighbors, from people in garden centers, and I want to address it. Mulch directly does not cause termites. Here's the truth. Termites already exist in soil around virtually every home in the country, particularly in the southeast and mid-Atlantic states. They are already there. Mulch does not import them. What mulch can do, and here's where I want to be honest with you about this, is create a favorable moisture environment near the foundation of your home when applied improperly. Termites are attracted to moisture and wood fiber. So if you have mulch piled directly up against your siding, your brick, your foundation, you're creating the exact conditions that they prefer. The fix is not mulching at all, but bringing the mulch back 6 to 8 inches away from the foundation of your home. When mulch is applied correctly, it does not meaningfully increase the risk of termites entering your home. What increases the risk more than anything is soil moisture and then soil to wood contact with the home. But always have your yearly termite inspection done with an extermination company, especially if you live in an area that has a lot of termites like I am here in the southeastern United States. There you have it, 9 mulching myths that homeowners still believe in. If you have a mulching myth that you know is false, leave that down in the comments below and share it with the community. And if you haven't already, hit the like button because it truly helps other people find this video that may need this information. Also, if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing so. I would greatly appreciate it. Guys, as always, thank you for watching The Plant Doctor, and until next time, happy gardening.